What's going on, guys? Welcome to Conversations with Heath and Tracy, where we come to you live every Monday, 8 p.m. EST, to talk to you about being married, relationships, marriage and money and mindset. And you can also ask us anything. How about that?
I think. Ooh, shiny.
If the people have a question for us, my love, what should they do?
Type in the comments. Let us know if you have a question. We love answering questions, okay?
If you're looking for a positive vibe in your Monday evening, you have arrived at the right place. So you want to just go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We sure appreciate you.
And today we're asking the question, is spending money on a wedding worth it? Is spending all that money, all them coins?
You mean like spending a lot of money?
Yes. Is spending a lot of money on a wedding worth it?
We're going to get into that. That's going to be a good conversation.
Yeah, I think so.
We're going to get into it.
I think so.
Because the answer, there's no right or wrong answer, actually. Depending on some things.
So if you're not paying for it, spend away. Spend away. Right?
Not necessarily.
Yes, necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
If I'm paying for it, I don't want you to spend away.
But that's you. That's you paying for it. But if newlywed couples are paying for their weddings,
okay,
and they can't really afford it, or they're going into debt for it, is that a good idea?
I don't think so.
We're going to give you some hints as to why it's not a good idea if you just hang in there for 1 second.
And if this is the first time here, my name is Heath.
And I'm Tracy.
Tracy and I are parents, podcasters, and joyfully married after 31 years. We are also certified marriage counselors, amongst other things, tech workers and such.
Okay. And if you're new here, hit the like button. You don't know if you like it or not. So just hang on. You don't have to hit the like button.
If you like it so far, you can still hit
If you like it so far, maybe. But if you're new here, type in new you in the comments. We would love to meet you.
New you, type new you. We like to chop it up with our folks after the show. So Tracy and I answer all of our comments and questions ourselves. So make sure you type new you down in the comment section. We want to holler at you.
Hey, what's up, Crump 919? Good evening. Thanks for joining us.
My man, North Carolina in the building.
North Carolina in the building.
919. My man, Crump.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Conversations with Heath and Tracy. Is that what we're calling our show now, baby?
Yeah, I don't think it's Conversations with Heath and Tracy. This is Joyfully Married After.
Joyfully Married After with Heath and Tracy. How about that? Whatever it is with Heath and Tracy. Because Heath and Tracy have been together for 31 years and we still rocking joyfully. How about that?
So hang out with us while we record our podcast. And if you just want to listen to the podcast and don't want to do all the hullabaloo that we're doing, now that's a new word, hullabaloo. I went all the way back and grabbed that one.
That's from Grease, that Grease movie. That was the name of the dance scene.
No, it's from my elementary school years. Am I aging myself? It's from my elementary school years.
Yeah, y'all had that hullabaloo back in the day.
And you got in trouble for that.
The hullabaloo?
You got in trouble for hullabaloo.
That's not a good scene right there.
No, it's not. All right, so what we do is we record our podcast, and then if you have any questions or anything, we jump into it with you. All right, you ready?
Let's see. I think
we can try it a few times. Let's try it.
Okay, I think that I'm ready. Is it worth spending thousands on a wedding? This is the Joyfully Married After podcast, episode 80.
Good job.
Thank you, baby.
Okay. So let's jump into it.
Let's get into it.
Right. So we're talking about spending money to get married. People want to wait these days to get married to have a wedding.
I think people have a vision of their wedding in their minds. Well, some people do.
Okay.
They have a vision of this grand thing, kind of like what they do in England when the prince gets married or the princess, or it's like horse-drawn carriages and church bells and thousands of people and flowers being thrown at your feet like you're in Coming to America and like the whole deal. I think people have a vision of this grand thing,
which
right?
is nice, but it's all marketing, y'all. They just trying to get your coins.
I think that what's really important, because Tracy and I are advocates of marriage,
right?
And so I think that when two people, especially if they're adult, right, because the statistics show that people are putting off marriage later and later these days. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about two mature adults who are older, right? Not teenagers or early 20s. Like you could be later in life very frequently in these days. And so
I think people are getting married later.
Right.
Is that what you mean?
Right.
Okay.
And so the point I want to make is that if two people have decided that they want to be married, then get married. If you have the financial wherewithal to create that dream wedding and these memorable parties that you're going to have, nothing wrong with that. That's not what we're saying. But what we're also saying is that if you are together and if you want to be married, then don't create excuses for not being married, right? Like you're living together, you're sharing a place, you're paying bills, you're sharing a home, you're sharing a dog, you're sharing a child, you're sharing everything, right? You're living as married people, but you have all of these excuses of why you're not married.
You sound like you're talking to somebody.
I'm talking to some people who fit that mold.
Okay.
And so the point I want to make about it is if the two parties want to be married, I think you should be married. And if you have this vision of this grand ceremony that you want to have, then maybe you get married and then you set a separate time for that grand ceremony down the road.
I think that's a great idea. If you think about the cost of weddings today, they say the average cost, the low end, y'all, is like $26K. Mm-hmm. Of course, you can get away with spending between, 10, 5, maybe, mm-hmm. Depending on the size or the amount of people, yep. to, $20,000. Mm-hmm. And if you have a budget, 9 times out of 10, you're going to go over yep. your budget.
Like building a house.
Yeah, exactly. It's like building a house. That's a good thing.
You always go with budget.
So some statistics for you is 16% of couples budgeted less than $10,000 of their wedding. Wow. Like say for, a backyard ceremony okay. or like at a rec center or somebody's house or something. Okay. 12% budgeted for between $50,000 and $100,000.
12%?
For their wedding, which is going to give you a nice venue. It's going to give you a sizable amount of people, mm-hmm. right? A sizable guest list. And then 2%. Mm-hmm. 2% of y'all out there budgeted over $100,000.
That's the baller weddings.
Okay, those are the baller weddings, right?
I've seen those on TV.
Yep, that's where I've seen those. I've been to a baller wedding.
You've been to a baller wedding or two? Okay, yeah, that's true.
That's true. So we've been to a baller wedding, right? So. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of people pay for these like really fancy destination weddings, and those cost a lot too. Mm-hmm. So even when a couple has a wedding budget in mind, like I said, it doesn't mean that's what they're going to spend. Sometimes they spend more.
Oh yeah.
They say 70% of couples spend more
than what they budgeted,
than what they originally planned.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Like building a house.
Yeah. And then this year it's even worse because a lot of people put it off and they waited and everything. Mm-hmm. And some of the reasons for going over budget are like they just didn't estimate it right, of mm-hmm. course. But of course, this year, 2022, supply chain issues are driving up the cost of wedding-related items.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I can definitely see that.
So this is a reason to like rethink it and everything. You just got engaged for Christmas mm-hmm. or Valentine's Day. Mm-hmm. And here we are coming up on the summer months. Everybody's getting ready to start planning for,
wedding time.
It's wedding time, right? So let's talk about the consequences of debt in a new marriage.
Yeah. So this concept, it really is connected to two people who want to get married, who have set one of these budgets that we've discussed and don't have the liquid cash or someone else to pay for the wedding.
Right. That's
so
what
they're
we're talking
going to create. They're going to create debt to have the wedding that they envisioned.
So we really want you to rethink it. If you have to create debt to have a wedding, if you don't have to create debt, don't worry about it.
It's your thing.
We're not talking to you.
Count the blessings.
Right? Have your party. If you have to whip out the credit card and you're not able to pay it off before your marriage, you need to rethink that.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Money problems account for 22% of divorces.
Yep. That's what the data shows, and that number could be higher, but 22% is probably accurate.
And if you think about debt is what is it's like water, putting metal in water and leaving it there. It's corrosive, right?
Yeah,
and it's going to cause some stress.
Nobody wants a rusty battery.
No, it's going to cause a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, and it's going to give you fear at the beginning of a new marriage just for your future. Yeah,
you're setting yourself up for challenges already.
And then high levels of credit card debt is going to really, really wreak havoc in a new marriage.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's, when you talk about marriage problems, financial problems, and part of a successful marriage is connected to trust, right? And so if you're bringing debt into the relationship, or maybe one party hasn't divulged certain things around their debt to the other party, and now you're going to have this marriage, this financing of the wedding to exacerbate that. That's a recipe for disaster.
And so it's associated with, you don't want to spend that much time around each other because you're going to argue. You're arguing more because of debt.
You're always irritated.
You're always fighting. And so automatically you're not happy anymore. And keep this in mind. It doesn't matter how much you make.
Right.
It doesn't matter if both of you are making six figures, but you're dealing and you're struggling with a lot of debt. Rich or poor, debt cannot break. Debt, rich or poor, debt can break your marriage into little pieces.
Absolutely.
Okay. Another thing to keep in mind is the financial aspect of not being comfortable can really, really put like a haze over your marriage. It's gonna
like a heavy cloud.
It's like a cloud,
like a weight.
It's consumer debt is like an extra weight. I'm going to be honest with you. Heath and I, we did not have a lot of debt when we got married early. Yeah. So we're really advocates for this.
Yeah, we were definitely blessed in that regard.
We were very blessed in that regard. We didn't have student debt. We didn't have, we didn't run out and buy a house like right away. But I will tell you something. They say married people are in debt twice as much as other people. You might think, oh, that's because there's two people. No, they spend money on things. They spend money on honeymoons. They spend money on kids. And I'm not saying these things are bad. I'm just telling you why. They buy houses. They put furniture in houses. They do weddings. So they go on trips. So that's a lot of people are in debt like that before the wedding. But even if they aren't, when you're married, you're going to get more debt anyway.
Yeah.
So it's best not to add to it.
And married people may have, large debt loads, but they also have big shovels, right? And frequently they have two shovels. So they can dig out of it. But I think the data point is that when you combine your lives and you're doing all these things and you're rearing families, it comes with debt frequently.
Well, I'm going to give you the numbers.
Okay, what do the numbers say?
They said the average couple's in debt $112,000.
112, okay.
The average single person is in debt $60-something thousand.
Okay. Sound like everybody in debt.
Right.
We're trying to help you. We're trying to keep you out of debt.
So basically the thing is, whether you're rich or you're poor, working middle class, whatever, if you accrue substantial debt associated with a fancy wedding, it's going to put a strain on your marriage.
And you don't want that.
You do not want that.
Yeah, life is hard enough.
So try some of these tips for a wedding instead.
Heath and Tracy coming with the tips.
Let's tell you what we did. My dad paid for our wedding.
Yes, he did.
It was very nice. We were going to have a big wedding.
But we had a small wedding.
I was graduating from college. I just had a baby. We were moving. We were doing all of this like in a span of 60 days.
Yep.
And as I was planning the wedding,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't get it together. I was trying to study. I was trying to get out of school. I had a new baby. And I just said, Daddy, I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do this. He was an executive at a company and he was going to have all these people there. I said, I couldn't do it. I couldn't pull it together. So we just had a really small,
intimate wedding.
Intimate evening wedding. Everyone wore tuxes and everything. And gowns. We had an evening wedding.
We did. Candlelight ceremony.
Yes, and then we had a candlelight dinner.
Mm-hmm.
It was about what, 20 of us?
25 people.
It was about 25 people.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really close family members.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it, y'all.
Yep.
We went to the Mayfair Hotel in Miami.
That was dope.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really, really nice. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to spend a lot of money on a wedding, okay?
True.
So do these things. Try this. Go on a great trip. Just the two of you, maybe two other people, and take some awesome pictures. Get dressed up in your dress and your tux and take some awesome pictures and get married. They, in most really nice resorts, has somebody there that can help you get married.
So that's tip number one?
That's tip number one.
Tip number one. Okay.
Okay.
Go to a resort, just you two.
Right.
Do you need the witnesses still? Is that how they do it?
They got witnesses.
They provide you the witnesses.
They got witnesses.
So they're going to provide you the witnesses. You go to the destination and enjoy one another. So you got a honeymoon and a marriage in one.
So another thing you can do is go to the Justice of the Peace.
Yep.
Get married.
Yep.
And then have like a backyard barbecue or have a really fancy, a nice barbecue in the backyard or something, right?
I like that.
This is one of my favorites. If you have the time, fly out to San Francisco. Mm-hmm. They have a gorgeous courthouse.
I've seen some of those pictures. That's pretty dope.
It is amazing.
Yeah, I have seen those. That can make a lot of sense for a lot of people, right? Like, especially if you maybe have never been to Northern California or you want to incorporate hey, we're going to go to the courthouse and we do some wine tasting in Silicon Valley and the wine country, and that'll be cool, and we'll go back home.
Yep. And look it up. San Francisco County Courthouse.
Okay.
And they have places where you can take pictures. You can hire a photographer online, like a student or somebody to meet you there.
Okay.
Take your pictures. Or you can just take some cool candid yourself. Everybody knows how to do that these days. Selfie. Take your tripod. Take some beautiful pictures. Spend a little bit more money on your dress. And, set it off. It'll be gorgeous. It'll be gorgeous.
I mean, half of the idea about the big wedding is to have the great pictures, right? So
yeah, you want the pictures.
There you go.
So if you don't spend all that money on a wedding, what do you do with all that money?
Balling.
You're balling, right? You can get new furniture for your new spot together.
We do need some new furniture.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because it's like maybe $2,000 now if you furnish the house from IKEA, let's say.
Okay.
Maybe $3,000.
Depends on how big the house is.
Yeah, Target is probably about $4,000, $3,000, and then, well, if you want to do it, Crate and Barrel, you're looking at about $5,000 to $7,000.
Oh, you're going up now. You're going up.
Well, some people got Crate and Barrel money.
That's true. That's true. Well, especially if they saved all this money from these tips we're giving them.
These are just ways you can use that money other than just a big party, a big fancy party.
I like it.
You can get rid of some student debt, y'all.
Oh, not spend the money on the big wedding. Take some of the money and apply it toward your student loans. Okay.
That frees you up for real. Okay. How about just regular debt? If you have a car note.
Yeah, people got credit cards.
If you have credit
got a car
cards
to pay off.
If you got a jewelry note.
Right. So what you're doing is you're taking the money that you would have spent somewhere else and you're directing it toward things that are going to propel you and make your life so much less stressful and thus more joyful in your new marriage. And
you can get a bigger ring, y'all.
Oh, bigger ring.
You can get you can get nicer jewelry if you don't spend all that money on a wedding.
Okay. A little ring, a little necklace, a little bracelet or something.
How about saving for your first house?
That's dope, right? Because, we understand that housing prices are going up and up and up. And so if you have house buying as one of the goals, right, instead of having the big wedding, go ahead and get the house. I know that's a hot topic for a lot of new couples.
Yeah.
Right? It's like
especially now.
House, wedding. Can we do both? I don't know. Gee whiz.
We've actually counseled couples who were in between making that decision. Yeah. Oh, I need to get another job because I'm paying for this wedding. And it's a lot when you combine households, and it's a lot of debt you're going into when you're just talking about having a party. And I hear a lot of people say, well, my family is expecting it and my family is big. And is your family paying for it?
Is your family going to marry you?
Is your family going to stroke that check at the end of the evening?
Who has to live in your house every day, and who has to pay your bills every day?
Are they going to pay your house now?
So you have to keep these things in mind, right?
You have to keep these things in mind.
It's all about you and your mate.
How about starting a business?
I mean, if you have seed capital, right? Bootstrapping, marketing, leveraging, internet tools. I mean, there's lots of ways that you can take money these days with cloud technologies and software as a service and really put some money behind it, and you are off to the races. So think about that. It makes a lot of sense to allocate that capital for maybe some business uses.
How about boosting your investments?
Ooh.
Especially now, the market's down a little bit.
You know, I think one of the things that we always talk about is marriage, money, and mindset.
Yeah.
Right? And so when you're talking about money and new avenues, new ways to create return on your capital, I think that's so important, right? Maybe investing in other businesses, maybe buying some internet domains, right? Maybe there's some real estate things that you want to get into. Maybe there's some online business that you want to create, right? Maybe it's a Shopify or Amazon store, all kinds of avenues to create income. And if you've got some seed capital to put to work, I mean, the sky is the limit. So I really like that idea.
And then building an emergency fund. That's really important.
Oh, dude.
Because it's going to come. The emergency it's coming.
Emergencies happen in life.
It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter how much you're supported. The emergency is coming. It's knocking. It's on its way.
Yeah,
it's on its way.
You know, the rule of thumb. Sometimes you hear people say 6 months, 8 months, 9 months. I think the moral of the story is, if you understand what your costs are each month, and you multiply that out 6, 8, 10, 12 times, and you have that money somewhere safe when the emergencies come, you're not stressed and stranded and begging relatives or other folks or running up credit card debt or all of those things. It's like, well, I've got it, right? So I can handle this emergency. I don't have to break stride. I don't have to break a sweat, and you keep moving. So, I mean, anytime you're talking about an emergency fund, it makes a ton of sense.
So keep those things in mind when you're thinking about having this grand party.
Heath and Tracy come with the big tips. So we're not saying don't have your big wedding. No, that's not what we're saying.
No, we love weddings.
We are advocates of marriage.
Yes.
And we think that if you want to get married, you should get married and not let not having the money for the giant wedding impede your union.
Right.
You get married, do your thing, start building your life together, leverage some of the savings that you would have into some of these things that Tracy and I have outlined. And then if you still want to have a party in a few years, then plan the biggest party you ever had, because you will have so much income coming in from that money that you didn't spend.
So thank you for joining us. We just want to say, I hope you enjoyed your time with us. If you liked it, hit the like button, right? You can find out more about us at heathandtracy.com. We have a download there also, great for newlyweds. It's called Foundational Legacy Living. And when you go there, it's only about 99 cents or something like that. I'm going to raise the price in a few weeks, but right now it's only about 99 cents. Just grab it.
That's a deal.
And what's cool about it is it's worksheets that Heath and I have come up with that we want to share with you. Yeah. It helps us keep our lives, keep our life, keep our money on track. And if you go through it, you'll see it's just 2 little worksheets that you can have, especially newlyweds. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you're newlywed, if you think you need to put it back on track and you've been married for a while, if you need a little direction, if you need a little vision, if you're frustrated.
It's for you.
It's for you. And either way, after you complete building the legacy through the steps and through the worksheet, it's going to teach you how to establish like a meaning and direction and a vision for your union. That's the purpose of the worksheet. So go check out heathandtracy.com and download the worksheet.
Love it. Love it. Well, we appreciate you joining us this evening. We know you could be doing a number of other things, but you took the opportunity to spend some time with Tracy and I, and we appreciate it, and we don't take it for granted. Make sure you drop a comment if you have any questions, anything you want us to address for you. We're glad to do that. Tracy and I answer all of our comments and questions ourselves. So, guys, remember, stay connected. Stay connected to God. Stay connected to your family, and stay connected to your spouse.
Or your significant other.
We love you.